This is the MTPredictor weekly update for June 5th. We've got a lot of things to cover tonight. I think the Dow chart you see is the daily chart of the Dow here. I'm going to put the Elliott wave, the major Elliott wave pattern on, just clicking on last on chart with the MTPredictor software. Labels 1 down to 2 up to 3 into this wave 4, this major wave 4 support area. And again, just below that, if I use our decision point tool here, off the last swing, we can see that puts a major support down here around beginning at 12,000. So we got a low in right now of 12,104. So certainly within striking distance. If we do come down to this 12,000 area, there's a good chance that we will get a hard bounce. Maybe an intraday type sell-off and then rally off this decision point support area. Would not be surprised at all if we get something like that. If this wave 4 support area doesn't hold, and again to the upside, I'm just going to take a decision point off the wave 3. This would be major resistance up here. You also have your wave 5 up in this area as well, all around that 13,000. It's beginning about 12,970 area into 13,000. So we'll see if they do kind of get a flush down into this decision point support around that 11,880 to 12,000 area, and then see if we don't get a major bounce off that area. We'll see. It's possible we could consolidate in this wave 4 area as well, continue that consolidation. We'll see. Now let's take a peek at the metals again. Here's the daily chart of gold. We do have a TS1 sell signal there that is it was in as of the 2nd. There's a major high here. Obviously this was an all-time high in gold back here. We got a potential impulse move down with the ABC correction to that move, and then the TS1. You can see the initial target would be wave C down, the minimum wave C down. The bigger target is the typical wave 3, this kind of green area here, and that's down around the 200-day. I don't know that we're going to correct in gold down to back down to the 200-day. Certainly could, and if we don't, there's a situation where we've got a lower high here potentially developing, and we certainly could see wave 3 down. If that's the case, again, a huge buying opportunity. If that is the case, even if it just gets below the 50-day, which it hasn't been able to do, we got to go back to January, the end of January. It was the last time we got below the 50-day in gold, 50-day moving average. And as I pointed out, these are all good in an uptrend in gold. These are all excellent buying opportunities below the 50-day and above the 200-day. You can see the nice TS4 that had set up there. That was 12 to 1. Had a 12 to 1 risk reward there to the DP target. Like I said, that's you finance 12 losing trades on a trade like that. Caught the nice correction there, but again, all these below the 50-day, above the 200-day, and you can also, as I've said many times, use these as gold comes below the 50-day, above the 200-day, and you get these TS setups to the long side. If you've got the MTPredictor software, those are excellent opportunities to accumulate silver. And these markets are not moving higher, not necessarily because they're appreciating in value. It's these things are cyclical, and from time to time gold and silver reevaluate themselves based on all the money that's been printed out there. It happens throughout history, and so this is what is happening now. As far as supply and demand goes, especially with silver. At the moment, the supply is keeping up with the demand. There's actually a little more supply than demand for silver right now. However, it's expected probably by 2015, 2016 that will change, and silver will be there'll be greater demand and less supply. And so that may be an important point of note when that does, if in fact that does become the case, because now you've got a supply-demand issue, and you've got all this money being printed out there that gold and silver need to be reevaluated based on that fiat money that's out there. And for the first time in history now, we've got the whole world on a fiat currency. So anyway, interesting times in gold and silver. Keep watching your MTPredictor setups there. At minimum, if you don't have MTPredictor, I suggest you get it, but if not, at least have your 200-day and your 50-day on there if you're looking at purchasing these, and look for some good opportunities in those areas. And then finally, let's take a look at what we had set up on a Friday intraday in our trading room, and then after the room let out, we had some setups later in the day. We had the open. This is the Dow. I'm sorry. This is the Nasdaq Mini contract, and we had the big gap down. Basically, gap down the ATR, the 20-day ATR in the NQ, the ES, and the Dow. The Dow Mini contract all had gaps down. The amount of their 20-day ATRs had some high volume spikes there, and thought potentially we could have the low of the day in. And even if they did test the lows, that they might not get too far, depending on what times those occurred. But anyway, as things unfolded, let me see if I can move this along here. We got our first short setup here. Again, the bigger trend was down, obviously, after the big gap down. And so you may have taken a chance on this TS3 setup at about a little better than 4-to-1 risk reward on that. But you can see the risk, the software sizes our position for us and shows us the target so we can figure our risk to reward here. So we were risking $375 to make a potential $1,600 or thereabouts. But that did stop out, and we're looking for a higher high here, and a new TS3 appeared because we're in that now, the typical wave C resistance here. You can see the ABC pattern that was forming, and this one sized up for 8 contracts and a risk of $360. This one had almost an 8-to-1 target here, so we're risking $360 to make a potential $2,800. So that's definitely one that you do want to try and play. And this one played out very nicely, though on a Friday afternoon you can expect to be in these trades for a good part of the day, and this was no exception on Friday, as this trade took a while to work through, but eventually did, as it began to get another leg down here, worked its way down to the target. This same trade, there was one in the S&P, and I know some of you caught the Russell, similar trade set up in the Russell. So this is the key to trading, is keeping the risk small. That's the only thing that you can control in trading, is your risk, your position size, your risk reward, your initial risk. Once that's in check, and then just a matter of managing the trade at that point. And so I heard from some of you, those in the trading room, the MTPredictor trading room, hit this one for this one, and the Russell was another one. Like I said, had a nice risk reward on that one. These were nice trades, and again, you've just about financed 8 losing trades. And so if your issue is having a lot of small wins and occasional big losses, you might want to try something like this, MTPredictor, where it controls your initial risk, small risk, high potential reward, Even if you stopped out of a few of these, we had an earlier trade in the NQ that you would have stopped out on. You have a 1 hour loss. The loss is small, and then you hit a big winner like this, and you're up 6.8, almost 7R between the two trades, and you're only trading at 50%. You won one, you lost one. So anyway, hope that's helpful. We'll see what this market does. Again, the end of QE2 is coming at the end of this month. We could get, another thing on the table is QE 2.5. Maybe an extension of QE2. Maybe not just an end at QE2 and then potential QE3. We'll see. We don't know. It'll be interesting though. So we'll check back and see what things look like next week. So have a good trading week, and we'll see you back then.